Tune in weekdays to the Bay Area Mental Health Hour on YouTube, Instagram, and on Facebook. You'll find us covering issues surrounding your everyday coping skills and your mental health and wellness. And remember, your mental health matters as much as your physical health. I'm Alicia Mayo, the host and executive producer of the Bay Area Mental Health Hour.
And I'm Dr. Jason Outlaw, Clinical Director of Journey of Life, Counseling and Assessment Services in San Leandro, California. Welcome. We're on location here today. I'm certainly very excited about providing information to the public on mental health topics that seem to be very important to us all, right? I think we all have family members and friends and even ourselves who at times have questions about kind of how to access and navigate through the mental health territory, and I think we'll be tackling some of those topics and making sure that we provide information to the public that's useful and practical.
Yes, and you can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. Look for the Bay Area Mental Health Hour. Hello, all of you two people who are tuned in here on Facebook tonight for Clari-T Conversations presents San Francisco Reparations Unlocked. What do we know? Have you read the report? Who qualifies for San Francisco Reparations? Do you have questions? Join me right now. I'm about to get started. I'm just giving some folks a chance to tune in so that we can get started with reading the report. I want to just give a shout out to Elijah E.B. Baker for the great music. He's a local artist, Elijah E.B. Baker. All right, thank you for the music. And thank you to Dr. Jason Outlaw for joining me with the Bay Area Mental Health Hour. Yes, you can find us on the Bay Area Mental Health Hour on YouTube. Exclusive content covering Black mental health, wellness, education, services, and anything you need to know about keeping yourself sane and happy and full of Black joy, especially during this Black History Month here in 2023. Thank you guys all. Thank you everyone. All three of you now. We've got one more joining us here on Facebook. Thank you to everyone joining us here for tonight's conversation to cover the San Francisco Reparations report and the draft plan. That work has been going on now for over a year. A lot of wonderful folks have been working on the report, and they're about to submit it to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. Hey, what is in the report? Who qualifies for reparations? And is it true that they're asking for $5 million? Yes, that's right. And that is not nearly enough in my opinion. Okay, all right. So I'm having some fun right now, okay? I'm just giving some folks a few more minutes here to join us. Give us another minute, folks. Thank you for waiting. Thank you for being here. Stand by. I've got more coming up, okay? Stand by.
Game time, I'm back. Like I told you, I was going to come back and we was going to talk about some ways we going to win this game. Because the season ain't over. It's never over until the final whistle. You understand me? So with that being said, I wanted to talk to you about the game plan. How we going to fight either one of these opponents, whether we're facing behavioral health or mental health and all of the different alignments and offensive, defensive strategies each of them may come in our lives with. We got to be ready at all times, if you know what I mean. And you got to hit hard. And when you hit, come hitting hard. Are you ready? Yeah, and with that being said, I want to discuss our game plan. Now see, and I could only speak from my perspective, and I'm not too shabby on the scoreboard. I've won my fair share of conferences and this and that, but I don't like to toot my own horn. But boop, boop. Anyway, with the game plan that I want to run, at the top of the list for me is always nutrition. You got to eat, And when you eat, you gotta eat right. So I wanna encourage you to eat color. Don't go in the back of the store. Shop in the front of the store where the fruits and the vegetables and the different things like that. I'm not gonna get too far into detail, but if anything, check with your doctor if you have some special ways you're supposed to eat. I eat all natural, if you can see. You did all natural. But anyway, after nutrition, you got to exercise. You see me with all this equipment on. Listen, you got to stay active. Everything you do got to be active. Don't let your check engine light come on and then now all of a sudden you want to change the oil. Listen, you got to stay up on top of yourself. Your conditioning is everything. And while we at it, while we outside, I'm going to do mines in the nature. Spend time in the nature because that's what works for me. I'm only talking about my strategic game plan. Everybody can configure theirs that fits them. And sometimes you can check with a doctor. Listen, after exercise, you got to get your proper rest. You know, like how they got oral hygiene and body hygiene. They got something called sleep hygiene. And yours need to be good. Look the word up. I just learned that recently, so I had to lay it on you. And also you got the new PPT. I forgot what that meant. I'm going to get back to it. The new PPT. But I know what the MMM mean. That's a lot of meditation. Excuse me. The MMM. Now that's if you need medication. And then I encourage meditation. And then a whole bunch of minding your own business. Put that in there. So that's what the M's is for. Medication, meditation, and minding your own business. And I got something over here that says SOFO. You know what that means? Stay off of your phones. Them phones is driving the people crazy. Matter of fact, I was using the phone the other day. I was real early in the morning and I guess I went to go use the bathroom in the morning. I forgot the phone was in my hand and I almost wiped my booty with the phone. Touchdown!
Hello, everybody. That was our coach, Wayne Hayes. He's a local. We kind of grew up in the same neighborhood, San Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco in the house today. Thank you for joining me. I'm Alicia Mayo. I'm the founder and the CEO here at Clari-T Media. Just bringing you guys some great information, some really great information. I mean, the information is so great. Let me tell you, it's going to change your life if you are a longtime San Francisco resident, okay? Because it's about reparations. Finally, okay? What took us so long? We have all kinds of questions. Who qualifies? How much are they asking for? Who's a part of the committee? Honey, there's a report, and actually it's thicker than this. Let me pull it all up because I printed out the report just so I could have it in my hand. Okay, this is the report. Hold on, let me get it together. Okay, this is the report. And some Black folks from San Francisco who are part of the reparations task force, or not task force, but the San Francisco Reparations Advisory Committee, that San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee. Okay, it took me a minute to get used to that title. Okay, again, it's the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee. Okay, and this advisory committee was created along with a longtime historian, a staple in our San Francisco communities, and that is Reverend Amos Brown. Now, he was called on by the NAACP and Dr. Shirley Weber, who is the current Secretary of State of California. Okay, these are all Black people. Okay, yeah, Black people doing great things for Black people in San Francisco. But Dr. Shirley Weber and Reverend Amos Brown and a bunch of other folks had this idea that it was time for reparations for not only San Franciscans, but all Black Californians. What a fascinating idea. Well, it's a long overdue plan, or it's a long overdue act that was supposed to happen like a long time ago, before I was even considered. Okay, there were some ancestors who came before me who worked for free, who contributed to society and didn't get paid for their contributions, on and on and on. Most of you guys know what I'm talking about. But the idea of reparations actually happening is coming closer and closer and closer to home, and closer and closer and closer to becoming a reality, especially for us in San Francisco. Now, it is my opinion that San Francisco will be the first metropolis, or the first major city in the United States to get reparations approved as legislation, and to get it in our pockets in record number amounts. Okay, so we will make history in terms of what we are asking for, the work that we have done to create this report, some 66 pages, I think it is. Let's see, hold on. Oh gosh, about 60 pages of research and due diligence to prove, yes, we had to prove that we deserve it. Okay, and now that we've done it, there are some qualifications involved. And once you qualify, okay, plan on getting reparations. It's my opinion that we will get it. We will be the largest city to get reparations in the amounts that we're asking for and the way that we're asking for it. We are going to set a precedence for the rest of the United States. Now, Illinois was the first state to get reparations, and what they asked for was what they asked for, but what we're asking for is what we're asking for, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay, now I want you to go to the website. Okay, and I'm going to share the website with you right now. Okay, so this is your reference point, so that if you have any questions later on about what did she say something about when she was reading that report, you can always go to the San Francisco Reparations Advisory Committee web page. Okay, and there it is. Okay, and the web address is sfreparations.org. That's sfreparations.org. Go get a pencil, go get a pen, use your eyeliner, ladies, write it down. sfreparations.org. Now, for those of you San Franciscans who don't know that much about it, and you have questions, or you think that it's not going to happen, you need to go to the website. You need to read the report. Information is here. Okay, so let's dig in. Let's get started. Okay, let's not waste another moment. Thank you so much to everybody tuning in. If you have any questions, here's a little business. If you have any questions, please put your questions in the Facebook comments or in the YouTube comments. I will be checking the comments throughout the reading of the report here. And so you'll have to bear with me as I try and read to you and make sure that I'm going through the website and checking the comments. Okay, so be patient with me. I'm going to do my best, but this is an attempt to inform and educate everyone who's had any questions. If you have had any doubt about reparations, okay, here is what is going on, and it is being brought to you by Clari-T Media and me. I'm Alicia Mayo, the CEO and founder of Clari-T Media. Glad to be joining you. I am also a dream keeper of San Francisco, proud to be a part of the narrative and storytelling shift, or the storytelling narrative shift cohort, the inaugural cohort, spreading good news, real news, pertinent news about San Francisco and everything that's going on with Black San Francisco in particular. Okay, because out of chaos always comes clarity. I am a grassroots organization founded based on the limits and the injustice or the inaccessibility to mainstream media. I created my own media platform so that we could tell our stories, and we could tell our stories in our own way, and we could tell our stories as much as we want to, as often as we want to. Okay, so that's a little bit about Clari-T Media. Make sure you subscribe, share, like, and all of that stuff to support what I'm doing here. But I want to say thank you to the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, the mayor of San Francisco, and the president of the Board of Supervisors, all of those wonderful folks, and all of the community members who are supporting me, all of my friends and family. Thank you all. I love you guys. Okay, so let's get into it. What does it take to support thriving Black communities across San Francisco? It definitely takes partnerships. It definitely takes a collaborative effort amongst people, Black and white, whatever color you are. If you love Black people, it takes you to support Black people and to help them thrive and sustain. Okay. And so the San Francisco Reparations Advisory Committee was formed and put together by several people, and it happened in February 2020, where District 10 Supervisor and Board President Shimon Walton introduced a resolution to address reparations to San Francisco's Black communities, building on a powerful nationwide movement to call for federal, state, and local governments to acknowledge the harms that policy decisions have played in perpetuating racial inequities in the United States. Okay, I'm really excited about all of this. I'm sure you can tell. Okay, so in December 2020, the San Francisco Board of Supervisors passed an ordinance establishing the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee. And over the course of 2 years, the 15-member advisory committee is tasked with developing a San Francisco reparations plan that addresses the institutional, city-sanctioned harm that has been inflicted upon African American communities in San Francisco for as long as I can remember. The African American Reparations Advisory Committee will specifically focus on improving education, housing, workforce development, economic opportunities, financial stability, small businesses, transit access, and food security, while reducing violence, health disparities, and criminalization experience in our Black communities. And the Reparations Advisory Committee also advises the Board of Supervisors, the mayor, and the Human Rights Commission and the public on the development of a San Francisco reparations plan. The plan will highlight ways that the city policies have harmed Black lives. It will also include specific actions to address discrimination and inequities. The committee is comprised of 15 appointed members who work across several committees, okay? And they are, again, focused on economic empowerment, health, education, policy. Let me just go to one of the tabs here. I don't want to go through the entire website. You guys have the website address above here. You can see it. And if you can't see it, it's sfreparations.org. Okay, so let me tap on here under policy. Come on now, come on. Okay, here we go. Okay, so for example, the policy committee on the Reparations Advisory Committee, their intention is to develop policy and legislative priorities centering reparations for African Americans that can be implemented as a part of the San Francisco City Charter. The City Charter, okay, that means long time, long game legislation, okay? Long game legislation, okay? Implementation of reparations legislation would include identifying specific policies to change or amend mandate reparations through the city ordinance and the city charter. They are involved in research, researching previous and current city tax codes to help craft a reparations tax or no tax, to implement past recommendations of reports and studies by rewriting the language as official reparations legislation policies. Because there was work done in the past, and that work cannot be ignored. It must be included as a part of this reparations plan and draft, because the work that was done previously is important work. We don't know where we're going unless we know where we've come from. And we had to consider, or the advisory committee had to consider, all that was done before that really should have been implemented and that was not implemented. Okay. So now they're making sure that they craft all of that information and prior recommendations into the current draft plan. And they're uh, tasked to implement past recommendations of reports and studies by rewriting the language as official reparations legislation policies. Okay, they want to review. Also, they have reviewed the systemic disparities within the legal, medical, housing, educational, and criminal systems, as well as any institutional systems that have legally hindered Black people from establishing generational wealth. Okay, so when you go onto the website, again, you can tap on any of these tabs here to understand what each reparations advisory committee um, subcommittee, to see what the subcommittees are up to. Okay, so, and there are chairs of each subcommittee. Let me see if I can go and find the chairs of each subcommittee about subcommittees. Let's see. Okay, the Economic Empowerment Subcommittee. Let me see. Come on, it's loading. Okay, so here's a little bit more about the Economic Empowerment and the Economic Subcommittees ask that are all inside of the report. Okay, it includes quantifying Black economic loss, assessing community engagement, and refining goals for economic empowerment, Black business growth, for example, and sustainability, and Black San Franciscans who need to be prioritized in local growth industries and educational and professional and economic development pipelines. All of these need to be considered and need to be defined and built to ensure successful outcomes, including job creation, attainment, and equitable pay, just to mention a few things. So let me go back and see if I can. Okay, here we go with the committee members. Okay, the committee members includes Clari-T Media's very own Professor James Lance Taylor. He is an individual who works for a media outlet, including Clari-T Media, that principally serves the African American community. He is a storyteller and he is a historian with expertise in African American history. He is also a political scientist and professor. And then we have Tanish Holland. She is vice chair of the Reparations Advisory Committee. Vice Chair. Tanish Hollins is one of the founders of Black Wall Street, and she is an individual who has been displaced from San Francisco due to gentrification, like so many of us, unfortunately. Reverend Dr. Amos Brown, he is the Health Committee's lead, and he is an individual who is 65 years of age or older and who has lived in a predominantly African American community. Now, these are some of the qualifications that they had to meet in order to become subcommittee leads and chairs, etc. Eric McDonald is the African American Reparations Advisory Committee's chair, and he is an individual with expertise in private equity, venture capital, or fundraising in the financial industry. And then we have Omerit Rico, Mr. Rico Hamilton. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, Rico, for not being able to pronounce your first name. But Rico Hamilton is a beloved San Francisco community member who is an individual who has been incarcerated. That was one of the requirements or one of the asks. When they were developing this reparations advisory committee, they were looking for people who could represent all of Black San Francisco. And so these are the folks who are serving and doing a wonderful job and who have put together, can I say, put together this whole huge draft for San Francisco's reparations. Okay, these folks have been working for over 1 year now on this draft plan, and they are doing a fabulous job, in my opinion. And I want to go back to highlighting who they are again. Nicole Cunningham, she's an individual who has experienced discrimination in the workplace. She's from San Francisco. All of these folks are from San Francisco. Miss Gloria Berry, she's the education subcommittee lead. She's an individual who has experienced homelessness. And Daniel Landry, he is policy subcommittee lead. He's also an individual with expertise in the impact of redevelopment activities in the Fillmore District and the Western Addition Black communities of San Francisco. Miss Tiffany Carter is an individual with expertise in small business. She's principally serving the African American community. And Miss Gwendolyn Brown, is a person who is employed by or in a leadership position in a charitable or social service or religious organization serving the African American community as well. Anite Ekanem is the Economic Empowerment Subcommittee lead. He is a person who works in the technology industry with experience in the field of technological equity. And Lord knows we need that. Excuse me. I'm sorry. That was my dinner. Excuse me. All right. We also have Miss Star Williams. She's a person who is between the ages of 14 and 24, inclusive with experience working with community groups serving the African American community. The young sister is doing her thing on the Reparations Advisory Committee. We also have Letitia Irving, an individual with experience as a parent or caregiver of a child or children experiencing barriers to or disparate treatment in education. Also, we have Shakayla O'Kane, a person representing the sectors served by the Office of Economic and Workforce Development, construction, building and trades, hospitality, and medical sectors, with experience working in predominantly African American communities. Okay, that's Shakayla O'Kane and Letitia Irving. Okay, and there is one open seat. As far as I know, they have not filled the seat yet. It is seat 15. And it is will be filled by someone who currently is living in or who has lived in public housing. That could be me, that really could be me. That could be me because I have had my share of experience in San Francisco. Let me just tell you, thank you all for joining me. I'm sorry for clapping into the microphone. Sorry about that. I'm super excited about today and tonight's reading of the draft of the San Francisco reparations plan. Okay, so I just shared the website with all of you. The website is sfreparations.org for more information about the Reparations Advisory Committee, all of their work, the meetings, resources, and other information about what they've been up to, what they've been doing. You can go to that website at any time. If you have any questions that have not been answered by me tonight, and chances are I won't be able to answer all of your questions because let me tell you, the 60 pages of work that the Reparations Advisory Committee has done is very intensive, extensive work. The work is not completed, but this report has been completed, and this report will be submitted to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors this week. Okay, it will be submitted. I'm sorry. not this week, but next month. I'm sorry, let me get my dates together. Next month, March, this report will be submitted, okay? All of these pages, all of the work, all of the research, all of the proof from Black San Franciscan residents who believe and who have experienced and who have done the research on why Black San Franciscans deserve reparations and so much more. Okay, it's all in this report. You can go to that website at sfreparations.org and get a copy of this report if you want to download all 60 pages. Otherwise, you can go and visit the report from time to time and read it. Read it. I suggest you read it, especially if you're a San Francisco resident, if you are a past San Francisco resident, if you have family and friends who are San Francisco residents or who have been San Francisco residents, and you want to know who qualifies, what they're asking for, it's all in here. It's all in here. And it is history. This report has made history. This report has made history. Okay. The people on the committee, the advisory committee, they have made history. Okay. They've made history by doing all of this work for over a year now. And I know that work will not be in vain. It will not be in vain. These reparations will be passed as legislation for San Francisco residents because when you read it, you'll understand why. Okay, so we're going to read some of it. Okay, but let me take a quick little break before we get into it so I can catch my breath and take a little swig of some water. You go and tell some folks, share this on Facebook. Share it. If you're on Facebook with me, share it. Make sure you include your comments. If you have any questions, make sure you share and comment and come right back in just a few minutes. I will be back with the reading. We're going to go through at least 10 pages, okay? And I'm going to try and do it quickly of the San Francisco draft plan for reparations for Black San Francisco. Stay right here on Clari-T Media because out of chaos comes clarity. Tune in weekdays to the Bay Area Mental Health Hour on YouTube, Instagram, and on Facebook. You'll find us covering issues surrounding your everyday coping skills and your mental health and wellness. And remember, your mental health matters as much as your physical health.
Black woman owned. Clari-T Media.
Black people.
Show your support for Black-owned media with a tax-deductible contribution today. And don't forget to visit Clari-T Media's tech and swag store for gear and supplies. Thank you.
Okay. I had to open my mic. Thank you so much for tuning in to Clari-T Media. I'm Alicia Mayo. I'm the founder and the CEO of Clari-T Media. Clari-T Media was born from the lack of coverage in media that I saw. Once I got to Cron 4 Television, KCBS, iHeartMedia, and all of the other commercial entities, Westwood One, Metro Traffic Control. I worked for all of those folks. KPIX, I made it, okay? I made it in. And once I got in, I realized they weren't really interested in local news and definitely not interested in local Black news. that's when I decided, okay, I needed an exit plan. I figured it out, planned well, and took the time that I needed. It's been a long, slow process, but it's been a long and steady process for me. I had very clear objectives and goals in mind as I covered Supervisor Breed when she was District 5 supervisor, and now the mayor of San Francisco. And I just want to give my shout out and thanks to the Human Rights Commission for the support of Clari-T Media, Black owned media. Thank you to all of you, all of my Facebook friends and followers, to my subscribers, to anyone who's ever contributed to the success of Clari-T Media. I just want to say thank you. I can't tell you enough how grateful I am, but more than anything, it is my goal to bring to you content that matters to us and in a way that matters to us. And so, we like news. We need to know the news. We also need to recognize ourselves, our businesses, our artistic and creative sides, and we need to also celebrate individuals in our community and so, or in our communities. And so if you have stories that you'd like to share with me here on Clari-T Media that you want me to share with others, please reach out to me. Let me know what those stories are. If you have businesses that you'd like to advertise here on Clari-T Media, please reach out to me, because I do have the capabilities to share content and to share it in a way that's very sophisticated, that looks like television, that's done in a very, very, in a great way. I love Soul Beat. I grew up on Soul Beat, and Soul Beat was my kind of like my, like my foundation. It was my foundation, but I see myself developing like a modern digital age Soul Beat in a way, right? And so we can do that, but we have to share what we're doing with each other so that I can bring it all to you on this platform. It is my privilege to do that. I'm a nonprofit media organization. That means that I can do it at little or no cost for you. So make sure you reach out to me. Let me scroll my email address to you while I pull up the San Francisco Reparations draft plan. Okay, so let's see. There we go. Okay, so there's some information there. If you have a comment or a show suggestion, please reach out to me. If you want to be a guest, even, there's my email address to reach me. Okay, so let's get ready now to dive into this draft of the reparations plan. Okay, I'm just going to go through it as much as I can, but let me include this screen here of the plan. Okay. So the San Francisco Reparations Plan, let's see, it's being presented to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, Mayor London and Breed, and the San Francisco Human Rights Commission. It is coming from the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee, and it's been prepared by the San Francisco Human Rights Commission staff. And the date was December 2022. Now, here we are, February 19th. Okay, and the draft will be submitted next month, I believe, in the second week of March. Okay, so let me move to the second page here where the contents are. Number one, you will find the legacy of civic disenfranchisement in San Francisco. In Chapter 2, you'll find the African American Reparations Advisory Committee, an overview. Chapter 3, lessons from other reparations frameworks. Chapter 4, a history of broken promises, lasting institutional harms in San Francisco. And in Chapter 5, you'll find reparations recommendations. Chapter 6 has reparations objectives and actions. And in Chapter 7, where we go from here. Okay. All right. So the executive summary reads, since the forced enslavement of people of African descent, there has been both resistance to the institution of chattel slavery and demands for redress thereof. The genetic, psychological, financial, and racial trauma experienced by Black Americans through U.S. chattel slavery is one of the greatest crimes against humanity perpetuated by our nation. The practice of slavery in the U.S. was uniquely violent and disruptive, where African Americans were foundationally and systematically disconnected from knowledge of their geographies, languages, names, relatives, and historic cultural practices. Let's see. Despite the efforts to yield other outcomes, Black people in America have consistently built loving families and communities, provided a blueprint for American cuisine, constructed our nation's most notable monuments, and are the most influential creators of artistic expression globally through dance, music, fashion, and language. Though both the enslaved, formerly enslaved, and their descendants, along with other activities, scholars and advocates have called for reparations for over 200 years in the United States, a pivotal contemporary point of activation and understanding of reparations came in 2014 when Ta-Nehisi Coates presented the case for reparations in The Atlantic. In the seminal essay, Coates expands on the common understanding of the purpose of reparations to encompass not only the atrocities committed by the country during the era of chattel slavery, but also call out the role of government in creating and perpetuating poverty by codifying racist practices in housing policy, particularly during the post-war era of urban history in the 1950s through the 1970s, known as urban renewal. Coates illustrates Black displacement and white flight using Chicago as an example, but it is very clear that the effects reach far beyond the limits of the city in the prairie. Chicago, like the country at large, embraced policies that placed Black Americans, most energetic, ambitious, and thrifty countrymen, beyond the pale of society and marked them as rightful targets for legal theft. Do you hear me? Legal theft. The effects reverberate beyond the families who were robbed to the community that beholds the spectacle. Those are the words of Ta-Nehisi Coates. According to the United Nations, reparations refers to measures to redress violations of human rights by providing a range of material and symbolic benefits to victims or their families, as well as affected communities. Reparation must be adequate, effective, prompt, and should be proportional to the gravity of the violations and the harm suffered. In this context, reparations are being demanded by members of the Black African American communities not to remedy enslavement, but to address the public policies explicitly created to subjugate Black people in San Francisco by upholding and expanding the intent and legacy of chattel slavery. Yes, they did that in San Francisco too. Yes. Yes. While neither San Francisco nor California formally adopted the institution of chattel slavery, the tenets of segregation, white supremacy, and systematic repression and exclusion of Black people were codified through legal and extra legal actions, social codes, and judicial enforcements. And honey, I can tell you, I have some examples. I have some examples myself. Yes, I do. And so many of my friends and friends of family members, San Franciscans, Black San Franciscans, we have proof. We have proof. Okay, so now let me go back to the report. This report joins the contemporary discourse about reparations, specifically expanding on the understanding of the role that the city governments have played in perpetuating harms that further marginalize their African American communities. Moreover, the recommendations included are proposed to combat the ongoing explicit anti-Black discrimination that Black citizens in San Francisco continue to experience. For example, the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee names urban renewal and its continued economic impacts on African Americans as a primary example. Lord knows we can't afford to live in the city that we all grew up in, that we were born and raised in. I'm about 45 minutes away, but I would love to be in San Francisco. For example, okay. All right. The committee also identifies the ways that these harms were enshrined and perpetuated through policy decisions, corporate advocacy, and institutional choices across the last 7 decades. 7 decades of it. Okay? The San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee has ultimately found that the effects of various programmatic and policy decisions by San Francisco's government have been generational and overlapping. Of particular focus has been the era of urban renewal, perhaps the most significant example of how the city and county of San Francisco as an institution played a role in undermining Black wealth and actively displacing the city's Black population. As the growth of San Francisco's African American population accelerated between 1940 and 1963, public and private entities facilitated and coddled the conditions that created that created near exclusive Black communities within the city, like the Bayview, Hunters Point, Fillmore, Western Addition, Sunnydale, and Valencia Gardens, and on and on. With limited political participation and representation. Okay, disinvested from academics and cultural institutions, right? I barely got out of high school. I didn't even graduate from high school. As a matter of fact, I was the first in my family to graduate college, but I was a high school dropout, okay? In San Francisco. Yes. I eventually graduated from San Francisco State. Okay. All right, so there was a disinvestment from academic and cultural institutions, and it didn't have anything to do with me not wanting to go to class, okay? I know some of you guys are probably saying that. Let me turn on my camera when I say that. Don't try to come for me. No. No. Okay, well, this was all institutional and intentional, okay? The displacement of Black communities from San Francisco throughout we were targeted with very often violent actions, okay? So during preliminary research, the African American Reparations Advisory Committee studied several reports centered on San Francisco's Black communities commissioned by the city and county of San Francisco, ranging from the 1960s to as recently as 2020, that revealed a pattern of disparate outcomes that reverberate across decades. Black people in San Francisco consistently have limited access to housing options, historically through the execution of racially restrictive covenants, and today because of racial wealth disparities, source of income discrimination, and gentrification. Okay? Those are the reasons. Those are part of the reasons. Black people have faced a steady decline in population since the 1970s in San Francisco. And even as the city's overall wealth has grown with the fortunes of the technology industry, Black people have fallen behind in household income and wealth building opportunities. Why? My father was an engineer for Motorola. I am an engineer today. My sons are engineers today. Why have we not had the same access, the same opportunities in the technology sector right here at home? Something's wrong with that. The committee found out what was wrong with that. Through policy recommendations, they've accompanied each report with consistent inaction on the part of the city. Wait a minute. Okay, so let me start over. Although policy recommendations have accompanied each report, past reports and the current report, there has consistently been inaction on the part of the city and county of San Francisco to adequately and appropriately address the ongoing racial disparities that Black citizens experience. It was not until the creation and implementation of the Dreamkeeper Initiative in 2020 and 2021 that the city thoughtfully committed resources to San Francisco's diverse Black communities to address disparate social outcomes. While the Dreamkeeper Initiative has been a successful start to investing in Black-led and Black-serving institutions, and it is a promising catalyst for pursuing new possibilities, it is not reparations. It is not reparations. It is not reparations. The Dreamkeeper Initiative is not reparations. Okay? It is not. Reparations need to be paid from a long time ago. Like, the Dreamkeeper Initiative was just instituted in 2020 and 2021, okay? Just 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago. Okay, so that it is not. I do not want you to get this twisted. It's not reparations, and I'm understanding this more and more myself as I read through the report and understand more about this reparations draft plan. Okay. It is not reparations, and there is still necessary work by the city and county of San Francisco and the people of San Francisco for Black San Franciscans to fully receive redress for the city sanctioned actions committed against them. Now, let's talk about a tool for collective action. And the methodology, okay? The methods and the tools for collective action include the early African American Reparation Advisory Committee's formation. The committee decided to concentrate on 4 distinct areas, and they are economic empowerment, education, health, and policy. The subcommittees met at least monthly and invited interested members of the public and guest speakers to join and offer their insight at these meetings. Ultimately, each subcommittee conducted research and held meetings with experts to refine their recommendations. Committee members also got valuable insight from public comment during monthly full-body meetings and from listening sessions with the public held during summer 2022, just recently. And they're still listening to the public, okay? So make sure you go to that San Francisco Reparations.org website to see when the next meetings are. You can tap on the link and register and attend those meetings if you're interested. The subcommittee leads presented draft recommendations in early November 2022 and incorporated public feedback during the special meeting held on November 7th, 2022, to reflect the community's desires. Now, the committee is creating the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm reading about the creation of the committee. Okay. So in 2019, the San Francisco chapter of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, made an audacious proposal to the Board of Supervisors. The city and county of San Francisco should pay the debt it owes to Black residents for generations of disinvestment and displacement. At the time, city leaders said there were no plans to introduce legislation to support the effort. The San Francisco NAACP and other Black community members continued their advocacy efforts until in February 2020, the Board of Supervisors President Shimon Walton introduced a resolution supporting the creation of a San Francisco reparations plan. The plan would comprehensively address the inequities that exist in San Francisco's African American communities as a result of chattel slavery's legacy of systemic oppression. The prescient resolution was adopted in August 2020, in the same year as a litany of events that would change national reparations discussions, namely the COVID-19 pandemic and the Black Lives Matter protests following the police murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis, Minnesota police. These events brought nationwide attention to the ways in which the city and county and state actors have historically played a role in driving institutional anti Black racism at a systemic and policy level. In addition to shining a light on the way that disproportionate policing impacts Black communities and how global events and health events had disproportionately fatal outcomes for Black people, 2020 illuminated other ways that government agencies have either passively or actively contributed to injustifiable socioeconomic, health, and educational disparities along racial lines. Okay. It is within this context that the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee was formed. The San Francisco Board of Supervisors passed the ordinance officially establishing the San Francisco African American Reparations Advisory Committee in December 2020. Over the course of a 2-year term, the 15-member advisory committee is tasked with developing a San Francisco reparations plan that addresses the institutional, city-sanctioned harm that has been inflicted upon African American communities in San Francisco. And the legislation specifically prioritizes improving education, housing, workforce development, economic opportunities, financial stability, small businesses, transit access, and food insecurities, while reducing violence, health disparities, and criminalization experienced in our city's Black communities. Okay. Now, let me pull up my screen here, you guys, because I've been reading a lot, and there's a lot here to understand. Okay, and this that was the. Let me forward the page. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't going forward in my pages. I'm already on page 6. Y'all was on page 3. I'm so sorry. Okay, so here I am on page 6. Okay, all right. So there's a lot more to read, but excuse me, my dinner. Let me just say that the report is 60 pages long. I'm going to do my best to go through it all, but I need to go to some comments, and I want to see if you guys are including any of your comments here on my Facebook page here. If you have any questions, any comments. Okay, let's see. All right. I don't have anybody speaking, my dear Felicia Jones. I don't have anybody speaking. I would love for you to join me. If you'd like to join me, just let me know in the comments if you'd like to join me. And then I will be back on every Sunday from 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. to read through this Reparations Advisory Committee's draft plan and report. I don't have any guests. I would love to have some guests on, including the subcommittee chairs or leads. The chair of the African American Reparations Advisory Committee, Mr. Eric McDonald. You are welcome to come and speak with me here to talk about this plan, to sift through it with me, to help me understand and to help the audience understand. The vice chair, Ms. Tanish Hollins, you are welcome to join me. Professor James Taylor, you're welcome to join me. Any of the advisory committee members are more than welcome. You are welcome. This is your home. Clari-T Media is a place for you to say and do what you need to help us understand this reparations draft plan that you will be submitting to the Board of Supervisors. And let me just say to everyone watching, okay, I have 5 of you right now. There was 8 of you, but share this information with your friends, because not only is it important to understand the report, but it's also important to participate in ways that you can contribute along with the committee. For example, on March 14th, we will present this draft plan as a community to the Board of Supervisors in San Francisco. Okay. And so we want you to join us in City Hall or at the Board of Supervisors meeting on that day, March 14th. Mark your calendars. Plan to be with us from 12 noon until 6 p.m., 7 p.m. If you have the whole day, one day is worth this, especially if you're a Black San Franciscan resident, okay, and you think you qualify for reparations. You need to be at the Board of Supervisors meeting as we present this report to the Board of Supervisors, and hopefully they will take the report and send it on up to Gavin Newsom, our beloved governor. I'll just put it like that, okay? Because this needs to become legislation. We need to all get involved. We need to be active in this process. We need to all be aware of what's happening in this process. And so I will be back next Sunday to read some more of this, but let me continue to go on through. I don't see, let's see, let me make sure I'm not missing any comments here, Martin. Okay. No, I don't see any other comments. Let me hop on over to YouTube, see if I see any other comments there. While I do that, let me just take a really quick commercial break here on Clari-T Media, and I'll be right back. Okay, thank you.
Clari-T. Yeah.
Black woman owned. Clari-T Media.
Black people.
Tune in weekdays to the Bay Area Mental Health Hour on YouTube, Instagram, and on Facebook. You'll find us covering issues surrounding your everyday coping skills and your mental health and wellness. And remember, your mental health matters as much as your physical health.
Clari-T. Hey, listen. Clari-T Media. Clari-T. Yeah. Clari-T Media. Clari-T. Yeah. Listen up. Black people. Ice Clean, Smith & Wesson Beam is a media theme. Clari-T inspiring, requirements never tiring. Laundry list you never miss, no wishing. Best media on display. Problem solved out the way. Magnitude, Godzilla. Selling more power than Jay Thriller. Getting backlash, cash stash so we can grow. Clear out on the air, you better go. Ancestors need us to be bold. Smart enough to live for another day. Get it right. Solving problems quick without 9 descendants up in our mix. Race soldiers getting help. Turning backs and watch and let you shoot. Clarity, bright, speaking truth. No help, have to help ourselves. Raise up if not for nothing else. T-technical, scientific, qualified. Always with it. Come through, rock with a few. Drip lit. Like a spotlight. Just winning. Media life spinning. Media life spinning. Media life spinning. outside, enemies within. We gotta stop it. Know it's a profit. Burden heavy, broken levy. Meant to you, now and forever. Politics is what she's speaking. Good mental health needed. Lift each other, don't trip. If your brother slip, extend grip. Make cash flip, pay each other. That's a good look, need each other. Deep inside, it's survival. Jump in together, no rifle. All the content's original. If you hear it, listen and share it all. Then you should have played with all your heart. Clara sticks it to him like a dart. And have the aim of archery to mark. Melanin made them all envy. Experimenting, cause they saw me blow by a NASCAR race. Nah, better space boost pace. Yeah. Nah, better space boost pace, boy. Just winning. Media life spinning. Media life spinning. Media life spinning. Just winning. Media life spinning. Media life spinning. Media life spinning.
If you'd like to be a guest or suggest show ideas, drop us an email or a direct message. We'd love to hear from you. Clari-T Media, human stories, grassroots solutions. Subscribe, like, follow, and share. The Bay Area Mental Health Hour, Clari-T Conversations, and We the People. Building trust for the first time. Out of chaos comes clarity. Clari-T Media.
Just winning, media life spinning, media life spinning.
Hey, hello. You see that? Scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Make sure you subscribe to Clari-T Media on YouTube, on Facebook. Follow me, share and like, and what else? Hey, let me know if you want to be a guest. If you'd like to be a guest and join me on this conversation, I need some guests. As you can see, I'm sitting here by myself. I have invited the African American Reparations Advisory Committee members to join me here in explaining this 60-page report that will be submitted to the Board of Supervisors next month so that Black folks can get some reparations. Yeah. And from the Board of Supervisors in San Francisco, it will then go to the governor's desk to be approved as legislation to make history in the United States of America as the largest reparations payout or the largest reparations legislation. Okay. And we will set the precedents for other states and cities across the United States. I am proud to be a Black San Franciscan right now. Black San Francisco is so lit right now. We are so lit. We are on fire with this energy. But it's been a long time coming, let me tell you. It's been a long. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Yes. Oh, yes, it will. Okay. So now I'm going to read the next couple of pages of this San Francisco Reparations Advisory Committee draft plan report that will go to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. And we want you to support us on March 14th at the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. Be there with us on the steps. Be there with us in the chambers. Be there in solidarity with us, because when we win, when one group wins, all of the rest of the groups win. You know that. Our Japanese brothers and sisters, Tamaki, he'll be there, right? What other brothers and sisters will be joining me? Okay, put it in the comments if you will be joining me. I will be there. I have a history, you guys. Let me see if I can go to the pictures. Let me just go to the pictures here and tell you guys a little bit about some of the history in my own family. If I can pull up these pictures, let's see. I got a whole lot of pictures and a whole lot of San Francisco history. Uh, let's see. If I can't find the pictures fast enough, then I'll just have to come back next Sunday and share all of my pictures and do all of my storytelling. Yeah, I don't know why I don't see them. Pictures. Maybe I put them in maybe I finally put my contents in a real nice file. No, I didn't. I didn't do that. I didn't. Okay, let me look one more time, because I have some pictures of my grandfather. I have pictures of my great uncle. Anyway, okay. I don't want to waste any more time. Okay, it's already past 6 o'clock. I'm going to stay on until 6:30, and I'm going to read through this reparations advisory draft plan just a little bit more. We're on page 6 right now, so let me minimize my page here and go to page 6. Okay, so we're at not the first. Let me turn that. We're not at the first paragraph at the top in tan. We're at the second paragraph. As 2020 went on, Mayor London Breed, President Shaman Walton, and other citywide decision makers answered the call from a growing nationwide movement demanding federal, state, and local governments to acknowledge the harms that policy decisions have played in perpetuating racial inequities in the United States and take substantive acts to take substantive actions to redress those harms. In this context, Mayor Breed launched the Dreamkeeper Initiative in 2021, again, an intergenerational effort that aims to secure and ensure San Francisco's diverse Black communities and to help them experience joy and a feeling of safety, advancing educationally and economically, holistically healthy practices and lifestyles where we can thrive. Okay, so thank you to Mayor Breed for launching the Dreamkeeper Initiative. Thank you to President Shaman Walton, and thank you to Director Cheryl Evans Davis for their work in making the Dreamkeeper Initiative a reality. And I am a humbled recipient of a Dreamkeeper grant for storytelling and narrative shift. Okay. So now I'm going to skip this next page because we went over the different seats and we covered the committee members. Okay. And the committee leadership. And they've had meetings going on since June 1st, 2021. Okay. The meetings are still occurring. And you can go to the San Francisco Reparations.org website to get a list, or the Human Rights Commission, sfhrc.org, or the San Francisco Human Rights Commission.org. Go to that website, either one of those websites, sfreparations.org or San Francisco Human Rights Commission.org, to find out when the next round of meetings are going to happen. But you can also follow me on Facebook and get information about the meetings and the times. And you'll also find the registration links on my Facebook page. The milestones for the committee. In December 2021, the advisory committee submitted a preliminary report to the Board of Supervisors, Mayor London Breed, and the Human Rights Commission, outlining the research, the outreach, and other efforts necessary to prepare the full San Francisco reparations plan in June 2023. Okay? The document is called Efforts to Support the Preparation of a San Francisco Reparations Plan, is attached to the websites, and you can see it there. It's the document. It's an attachment that is attached to the reparations plan. Looking ahead, what's next after presenting the recommendations? The document is intended to elevate policy and program recommendations for a comprehensive reparations plan for Black San Franciscans. It is important to note that the African American Reparations Advisory Committee serves as an advisory committee, okay? They are only recommending what they believe, along with the public, through the hearings that they've had for over a year. And they are only empowered to make those recommendations. The body has no authority to implement these recommendations, and the city officials are not required to implement any part, okay? This model of building power is called inside-outside strategy. Stakeholders within government institutions or with access to those with power are considered inside of the system, while community organizers, advocates, and grassroots organizations are on the outside, like me. And of course, in San Francisco, the division between these two is often contextual, okay? An inside outside strategy requires an honest assessment of power dynamics, intentional organizing, and a strategic approach to accomplishing those goals. And that has been the most important part of this process. And let me tell you, when it came time to doing the work, Black San Francisco has done the work. We have done the work, and I'm so proud of the organizations, all of the individuals, all of the people committed to making this plan a reality. Just to get it done. Just to get it done. No, we didn't sit on our hands and say, nah, it probably won't happen. Reparations ain't gonna happen. How are we gonna get the money? Where are we gonna get the money from? No, the Reparations Advisory Committee got together along with partners, community, and we all figured it out. We all figured it out. And my 2 cents was make sure we tap Wells Fargo and Bank of America. Make sure we tap those real estate investors who have made billions of dollars, those large investors, those long relationships of property ownership that managed to keep the residents and citizens of San Francisco out of being able to even rent. Okay. Anyway, I put in my little 2 cents. Okay. Now let's go on to lessons from other reparations frameworks. What are reparations? The city and county of San Francisco is not the first institution to embark on a journey towards reparations for its African American citizenry. Beyond the individual petitions for reparations documented as early as 1783, government entities have distributed compensation as redress for actions taken against specific demographics, including for Japanese internment, victims of forced sterilization, victims of the CDC's Tuskegee syphilis study, victims of the Rosewood massacre, and more. In 2020, California was the first state to seat a formal commission on reparations with Assembly Bill 3121, establishing the task force to study and develop reparations proposals for African Americans with Dr. Shirley Weber. In 2021, Evanston, Illinois was the first city to enact a municipal reparations plan. There are currently dozens of institutions, including universities, religious institutions, nonprofit organizations, and local government bodies exploring reparations as remedies to historical harm and their continued impacts. Two major coalitions, the National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations, NAARC, established in 2015, have led advocacy efforts for reparations and built outreach campaigns and strategies to guide the national reparations movement. These organizations have defined reparations under the framework offered by the United Nations. In order to be considered reparations, 5 key components must be met. They are: number 1, cessation, assurances, and guarantees of non-repetition. Do not do it again. Under international law, a state responsible for wrongfully injuring a people is under obligation to cease the act if it is continuing and offer appropriate assurances and guarantees of non-repetition. Number 2, restitution and repatriation. Restitution and repatriation are some of the key components that must be met. Restitution means to reestablish the situation which existed before the wrongful act was committed. Changes traced to the wrongful act are reversed through restoration of freedom, recognition of humanity, identity, culture, repatriation, livelihood, citizenship, legal standing, and wealth to the extent that they can be, and if they cannot, restitution is completed by compensation. Number 3, compensation. The injuring state, institution, or individual is obligated to compensate for the damage if damage is not made good by restitution. Compensation is required for any financial Compensation is required for any financially accessible damage suffered. Compensation is required for any financially accessible damage that has been suffered, to the extent appropriate and proportional to the gravity of the violation and circumstances. In other words, I think this is what this means, and I'm going to put a check mark next to this so that if I am so fortunate and lucky to have a committee member join me, they can explain this. Hold on a second. Let me just mark this. Compensation, appropriate and proportional to the gravity of the violation and circumstances. Now, we have our individual experiences in San Francisco, some more serious than others. Okay. If you can prove your case, if you can, I don't know, maybe you don't have, we'll see. But in my mind, it would be like a lawsuit where you have to prove your case. If you can prove that something was done in violation that is more proportional to someone else's violations or to a more serious extent, then and you can prove it, then your case may in fact be a little different from another case. Maybe you'll receive more compensation proportionally. Okay. So that's what that's about. Compensation, number 3. Satisfaction is number 4. Satisfaction is a part of full reparations under international law for moral damage, such as emotional injury. Lord knows we need mental health, mental suffering and injury, mental health care. Oh my gosh. Injury to reputation as a Black nation, as Black people. In some instances, where cessation, okay, let me look up cessation. Okay, hold on, bear with me. What is cessation? Cessation, the fact or process of ending or being brought to an end. Okay, to cease. Okay. So satisfaction is part of the full reparations under international law for moral damage, such as emotional injury, mental suffering, and injury to reputation. In some instances where cessation, where it stopped, restitution and compensation do not bring full repair. Satisfaction is also needed still because you can have lingering effects, right? Post traumatic injury, post traumatic disorder, right? It still continues even though it stopped, you still suffering from the effects, right? And apology falls under the reparative category of satisfaction. Okay, they can apologize, yeah, but that's not going to be enough for me. I'm sorry. Sorry is not enough. Rehabilitation is number 5. Rehabilitation shall be provided to include legal, medical, psychological, and other care and services. Okay, so that's where the mental health counseling comes in and all of that. You guys, I want to stop here. Let's see, that was page 11. Oh my goodness. So I was on page 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we got through 12 pages more than I planned on 10 pages, but we got to page 11, where, as you can see, the timeline and the short history of past successful reparations movements that include in 1948, the Japanese internment reparations, in 1953, the Holocaust reparations, in 1974, Tuskegee experiment reparations, and in 1994, the Rosewood race riot reparations. In 2019, Evanston, Illinois passes the first municipal reparations legislation in the US. Okay, so they set the precedence for us, and now here we are in San Francisco about to do it in a huge way. We're about to set some more records. We're about to make some more history, but we need your support. We need you on the steps of San Francisco City Hall on March 14th to support our efforts in San Francisco. As Black San Franciscans, we need all the support we can get. We've been working hard on this. Our ancestors, our people, our families, we have suffered tremendous harms, and we are barely hanging on. Well, we're doing pretty good. I won't make it a sob story. We have experienced a lot of joy this month, in particular for Black History Month. We are really trying to remember all of our blessings, and we have really been trying to celebrate instead of, dwelling on so much harm. Right? We cannot have that attitude where everything we do and everything we say is based on the harm, and looking back and continuing to look back. We'll look forward, but we cannot go forward until we know for sure that what has happened in the past will not happen again. And that's what this reparations draft plan is all about, and sending it to Governor Gavin Newsom to make it legislation as the beginning, not the end, but as the beginning of repairing all of the centuries of harm against Black people in the United States, and particularly in Black San Francisco. So thank you guys so much. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me here on Clari-T Media for this Reparations Advisory Committee report unlocked. Okay, I have the report in my hand. I will continue to read through this report until we're done with it. And hopefully we'll have some of the committee members join me here on Clari-T Media to sit and discuss things. Of course, that's going to extend the conversations out a little bit longer. Maybe I'll just read through the reports and then I'll have them come and join us so that we can go through particulars in the report. Again, if you have any questions about this reparations movement, the work that's been done by the Reparations Advisory Committee, please go to sfreparations.org. If you have any questions, please drop your questions in the Facebook comments or on the YouTube comments. Also, share this information and content with your friends and family so they can stop asking questions about what reparations is really all about and whether or not we are actually going to see reparations in San Francisco. Yeah, we will see them, but it's going to take a lot more work and a lot more grassroots activism and a lot more of us speaking up and making our voices heard with the governor on the state level and the statewide task force level and on the national level with our, with our vice president, our beloved Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, and President Joe Biden. This work is not being ignored. It is very much in the news, as some of you know. We have made national headlines, and we will continue to make national headlines because we will continue this fight. We will continue this fight. I'm a proud San Francisco native, and I am so happy that you've joined me tonight. And I just want to give you a big hug and a big shout out. And again, thank you for joining me. Make sure that you get involved in some way, shape, or another, you guys. I will be back again next Sunday at 5 p.m. doing the same thing. We will continue on to page 12 of the report until it's done. And again, mark your calendars for March 14th to be on the steps of San Francisco City Hall and join us in the Board of Supervisors meeting as we present this reparations draft plan. And thank you again to the AARAC and all of the committee leads and the committee chair and vice chair and Reverend Amos Brown, and for all of your work. I love you. And to all of you out there, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys a little later, okay? A little later. Take care. Oops, I got the wrong thing up. Tune in weekdays to the Bay Area Mental Health Hour on YouTube, Instagram, and on Facebook. You'll find us covering issues surrounding your everyday coping skills and your mental health and wellness. And remember, your mental health matters as much as your physical health.